Wolfman is the newest film from writer and director Lee Winnall, who previously wrote and directed The Invisible Man. This one stars Julia Gardner and Christopher Abbott. With his marriage fraying, Blake persuades his wife Charlotte to take a break from the city and visit his remote childhood home in rural Oregon. As they arrive at the farmhouse in the dead of the night, they're attacked by an unseen animal and barricade themselves inside the home as the creature prowls the perimeter. But as the night stretches on, Blake begins to behave strangely, transforming into something unrecognizable. I really love The Invisible Man. I thought Lee Winnall did a really good job with that movie. When I heard he was doing Wolfman, I was like, oh, maybe this is Universal reigniting their passion for their classic monster universe. Maybe it's just going to be like a universe of standalone movies, and no better man to do it, in my opinion, than Lee Winnall. But then I saw some of the review scores and I was cautiously optimistic going in, but I was really surprised that I walked out of this thing enjoying a good majority of it. I thought the first two-thirds of this movie were really, really entertaining, especially the first 30 to 40 minutes or so. In that opening first act, the movie really establishes its themes and its characters and where these characters are really going to go. It's going to have emotional payoffs with both parents and their daughter. And I thought that the movie actually lived up to that promise. It really fulfilled those themes and those character arcs and tied them all together in a nice little neat bow. And even if it's not as emotionally resonant as something like The Invisible Man, I did find myself emotionally attached to this family by the end of the movie. I really wanted them to escape this terrible situation that they've been put in. In particular, the father and daughter relationship between Christopher Abbott's character and his daughter, which I thought was really, really interesting. He's definitely the one that has the strongest relationship of the two, and she's kind of alienated from her mother, though she doesn't really hate her mother. It's just they don't have as strong of a connection as they do her and her father. And by the end of the movie, I think that that's kind of reversed, and I think that they actually did a really good job at that. The movie's effects are very top notch. Whoever did the visual and makeup effects for this movie should be hired for every Hollywood movie ever. Not to have those people totally enslaved, but this is how you do it. Practical effects, minimal use of CGI or no CGI at all, honestly. There could be shots here that have CGI, but if there were, I couldn't even tell. It was mostly practical effects, practical makeup. All of it looked really top notch. The gore effects, it was all really, really good stuff. This should be an example for Hollywood to learn. Like, this is what you need to do. You don't need to make everything CGI. You don't need to have crunch time for visual effects artists. Give them the time. Give more time to practical effects and stunt teams, and you will get a really top-notch product. And that's exactly how I felt with Wolfman, watching these effects and watching the makeup. I've seen some criticism as to how the Wolfman looks, but for me, I was like, I think I was just so enamored with the fact that it wasn't CGI. It was all makeup. It was all practicality, face masks, whatever it may be. And I thought that that was really, really good. I thought they did a really good job capturing that. And this is all really good too, especially when the movie uses body horror to its advantage. You'll see the Wolfman biting pieces of his own skin off of his arm. You can't even tell if it's CGI. It's probably practical stuff. And they do it in a way that feels very gnarly and makes you want to turn away in some points. I didn't, but that's how I could feel that some people will look at some of the practical effects in this movie and be like, that's too realistic. It looks too gross. It's gnarly. That's the point. And that's how you know that you have a good practical effects team. The sound design is also something I really loved with the Wolfman. I loved the clashing of the claws across skin or bones or whatever it may be. It just sounded like swords clanging together. Like, I feel like we would all associate Wolfmen from other movies or werewolves from other movies. When they hack and slash, it should sound like, to me, based on experience from watching other movies, like it is a sword clashing or a piece of metal falling on a floor. All really great stuff. Where I think the movie falters is in the third act and some of the character decisions that are made towards the end. Let's talk about the third act first, because I feel like that this movie feels a bit too elongated. It feels like that this movie has 3 or 4 different third acts. It feels like it's wrapping up. If there's a set piece that happens and I was like, okay, we're wrapping it up now, and then the movie just kept going with a couple of more set pieces, and it didn't really know how to really end itself. I feel like it was just trying to make itself feel bigger than it actually was. This movie is definitely predicated on the idea that less is more, but it did feel like it was trying to go bigger in those moments, and instead it just felt like it was less. It didn't feel as exciting as those first two-thirds of the movie were, where you got to witness the transformation, but also some other really good action set pieces. And let's talk about the characters, because I think the characters make some asinine decisions here. When you're outside trying to start up a car, okay, and you have your daughter in the car, but the car's not starting, would you leave your daughter in the car with a werewolf out there, even though you're less than 100 feet away in front of the car, but you have the hood up trying to get it started? I understand that with movies, you have to suspend your disbelief. We have to do that with almost every movie, realistic or not. But there's only so much of that disbelief that I can suspend. And when I can't suspend my disbelief, it really relies on character decisions, and it's character decisions like that. For instance, they're being chased by this creature. In this farmland, there's this greenhouse. They decide to climb the greenhouse as if nothing will happen. It's character decisions like that that really do baffle me with the Wolfman. But other than the ending of this movie feeling like it had 3 or 4 different third acts, it's some really terrible character decisions in the last third of this movie. I really did enjoy the first 2/3 of this movie a lot, and I don't necessarily hate that last third. I just don't think it's as strong as those first 2/3, where we were building up a lot of momentum. But I did really enjoy myself watching The Wolfman, and I think The Wolfman is worth watching with 3/4 of a bucket of popcorn. So guys, if you have seen The Wolfman, let me know. I definitely think it's better than what critics are saying. I'm really curious to see if you think the same way too. Let me know in the comments below. I'll leave my link to my website in the description below as well. You guys are the best. Thank you for watching. My name is Alex Madden, and I will see you at the movies somewhere.